So let's start with Derek Carr, who I know you don't necessarily want to relive this, but had a really good game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And for me, the biggest thing was that Derek Carr, who's been sort of besmirched, as Adam Rank would say, for not throwing the ball deep downfield, threw the ball deep downfield on a number of occasions and had a pretty good week. So when you look at what he did against the Chiefs, breakout or fake out?
You know what, and I swear I'm not saying this because I'm biased, but I absolutely do think that this is a fake out. I think this is probably the ceiling game for Derek Carr. I'm by no means besmirching, as Adam Rank also likes to say, his performance. He had a 92 quarterback rating. He had 347 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, some really good deep balls, and his receiving core looked amazing. You know, there was a really fun run and reception by Henry Ruggs. We saw Darren Waller have really good, performance and some throws his way. But I really do think that, no, this is completely a fake out. I do think Derek Carr is a fine quarterback. He beat my Kansas City Chiefs. It's whatever. It's water under the bridge. I'm 0% salty, as you can tell. But no, I think this is absolutely his ceiling game. And a huge part of why I'm not completely buying into this is looking at the schedule ahead for the Las Vegas Raiders. They take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then they take on the Chargers. Then they go back and play the Chiefs. Then they take on the Browns and then the Broncos and then the Falcons. Yes, some of those teams not so hot, but a lot of those teams are performing really well this season and have really strong defenses. So if Derek Carr wants to continue to do what he did yesterday, he's going to need to step it up even further. So no, it's a fake out, and I'm not buying into this Derek Carr hype train. Sorry, I'm over it.
I think I'm a little closer. I'm not quite as far into the fake out realm, I think, as you are, but I am a little bit closer than I am to breakout for Derek Carr. I mean, I do think that what we saw yesterday was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch because it seemed out of character for how he's played in his career and how the Raider offense has played. But I do think that at best, he's kind of a streaming guy. He's a matchup-based starter. He's not a guy that you're suddenly going to think, oh, hey, I'm going to plug him in and I'm going to get 20 points a week from Derek Carr. I just don't think it's going to happen. You talk about the schedule. There are some soft spots in that schedule. There are games against the Falcons. There are games against the Jets. There are opportunities for Derek Carr to go in there and have big weeks, but I still am not sold on him as being more than kind of a QB2. He's a nice piece to have in 2 quarterback leagues, but I think in most traditional or standard leagues, you're not going to be starting him each and every week. All right, another quarterback, though. Teddy Bridgewater, who we all sort of predicted him to go out and have a nice day against the Atlanta Falcons. He did not let us down, did a lot of that work in the first half of that game. But Teddy B, I mean, he had a lot of yards, just not a lot of touchdowns. Is this a breakout or a fake out?
It's a breakout, and I know we hyped him up last week, and I'm going to continue to keep the train rolling. Also, before I move on, I'm sorry that I was just so shady to you, Derek Carr, because I don't ever want to be shady towards players. I'm really, really, really salty, and I'm very upset over that loss yesterday, so I'm sorry. I still think that you're a fake out, but I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, on to Teddy Bridgewater. I think this is truly a breakout performance. Yes, he didn't go and put up 4 passing touchdowns. He only had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 313 yards, and his receivers played really well. We saw a really good game from DJ Moore, another continued great game from Robbie Anderson, and then Mike Davis, at the running back position, he was one of the top scorers in fantasy football this week. Now, rumors have it that Christian McCaffrey could be back as early as next week in week 6. So, then there's some questions. Does this now go back to a running offense, and Teddy Bridgewater is not going to throw his balls to his receivers as much? I don't know, and I don't know how that game script is going to change once CMC is back in that starting lineup. But regardless, I think we need to give credit where it's due. And Teddy Bridgewater has been a really good fantasy quarterback these last few weeks. So if you picked him up on the waiver wire, or if you want to continue to stream him contingent on the matchups, you should be happy and feel proud about that decision.
So I'm gonna go slightly different from what I said about Derek Carr. I said I think I'm trending more toward fake out than breakout. I'm more toward breakout than fake out on Teddy B, but I'm still not all the way there. I think, again, like my idea of Teddy Bridgewater coming into the season was that he was going to be a streaming option. I still have not completely moved off of that. I do think he played great. I do think he's going to be able to take advantage of matchups. I will say, though, I am more impressed with this Panther passing game than I thought I would be. I didn't think Robbie Anderson was going to be a fit there. He's come in and played very well in the first 5 weeks of the season. I liked what I saw on Sunday in terms of them getting the ball to DJ Moore as well. He had a nice long catch and run for a touchdown, and you can see that they are really trying to get him the football and get him involved in the action. I also want to see what happens when Christian McCaffrey is back. Mike Davis has been fantastic with McCaffrey injured, but I do want to see what changes or how much this changes with McCaffrey back, whether or not they sort of go maybe being a little bit more run based. But I like what I've seen out of Bridgewater. But again, I don't know that I'm using him as more than a streaming option in a lot of leagues. But I think if I were, so basically if it comes down to, all right, so let me ask you this. If you have to pick a streaming quarterback off the wire and you're going to go Derek Carr or Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask, are you going Teddy B or are you going Derek Carr?
I'm going Teddy B. I'm done with you, Derek Carr. No shade. I'm done with you. But no, I honestly do feel like, especially looking at the schedule, I know we said that there are some soft spots for the Las Vegas Raiders when they take on the Jets. They take on the Broncos, whose secondary is pretty banged up. But I really do think it's Teddy Bridgewater. And that's not even a homer pick. That's just, it's what I feel in my heart. Okay, Marcas?
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So our last one here on Breakout or Fake Out, Brandin Cooks. Last week, he had 0 catches for 0 yards. That's not great. This week, he had all of the catches for all of the yards. He had like 12 targets. He had a huge game. I know this Texans offense is sort of hard to figure, although I still feel like Brandin Cooks and Will Fuller are the top two options in the passing game. But after what we saw from Brandin Cooks on Sunday, are you feeling like it's a breakout or a fake out?
I'm going to pull a you and just say yes. I feel like it's either one of them. I don't know. I'm just coasting the middle on this one and going to say yes, because you're right. You know, he had 161 receiving yards and a touchdown. I think all of us thought that this was going to be a Will Fuller game, but then Brandin Cooks came in and stepped up. But my only problem here is that he's been inconsistent through 5 games, gaining 25 yards or fewer on 3 of those occasions in those matchups. So it's really hard for me to figure out who is Brandin Cooks and what is he going to look like on a week-to-week basis. I think that he could put up some team numbers every single week, maybe like 12, 13, 14 fantasy points. You know, hopefully you want to have another 30-plus fantasy point performance out of him. But you're right. I think Will Fuller is going to be the wide receiver 1, and then Brandin Cooks is close behind him. But I also think Kenny Stills is going to get some looks and some opportunities. Now, we don't know what's going to change with the coaching change that just took place last week. They have the interim, head coach in place right now. But I don't know. It's really hard to put my finger on exactly what Brandin Cooks is going to look like, as well as the rest of this receiving corps. So it's a yes for me. It's a yes. It's a breakout or a fake out. It's just, he played well. He played well on Sunday.
I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to say it's a breakout. I'm going to say this is the start of some good things for Brandin Cooks. I know we were sort of all on this idea this past week that with the coaching change, that the Texans would basically just put the ball in the hands of Deshaun Watson and let him work. And I still think that's going to be the basic game plan going forward. And I think it bodes well for his receivers. We know that Deshaun Watson likes to go downfield. That's why Will Fuller was kind of a nice mid-round value pick. That's why Brandin Cooks had some late-round fantasy draft value. And so I'm going to go with say that this is the start of something pretty good. Now, obviously, it's not going to be 160 yards good every week, but I think there's going to be more opportunity there. And I think we're going to look back and that 0 game was going to sort of be just kind of a speed bump. And we're going to say, hey, Brandin Cooks had a pretty good year. So I'm going to start to buy in. Now I could come back in a couple of weeks and, have completely put my foot in my mouth. I'm not ruling that out. But I'm going to say that this is going to be sort of a breakout here for Brandin Cooks. Fingers crossed.
Okay.